This is a story about software project management. Two ways. The old way, waterfall, plan your work, work your plan. And the new way, agile, which is like lean for software. And what happens when you have an overly aggressive schedule? Not that that ever happens. We're going to use a little toy project. Let's imagine we spent 6 weeks figuring it out. It's got 12 features. And we estimate that we can do it in 12 months to make the math work out. And our CEO commits us to that 12-month delivery time. There's just one little problem. Our estimate was 1/3 too low, which happens about 30% of the time. Now, the waterfall is the traditional way. Winston Royce wrote a paper in 1970 in which he says that the waterfall process doesn't work. But in reality, it's the industry standard and has been, still is a lot of places. To be fair to the waterfall, it goes back to the days of written specs and punch cards when you might only get 2 runs a day on a mainframe, and I worked in those days. So we make our waterfall plan. It'll take our 12 months. We're going to take 3 months to write a detailed specification, get sign-off. We're going to spend 6 months coding it all up, and then we're going to spend 3 months testing it, and then we're going to ship. Well, we're 3 months in and we're not done with the spec. But management, they want to do the right thing, so they agree to a 1-month slip on the spec, but they kind of twist our arm into the 12-month delivery schedule, but we figure we'll be okay because we got a good solid spec and we've got 8 months to make up that 1 month. Not a problem. 6 months, 2 months into coding, we ought to be 1/3 away done with design and coding, but it doesn't feel like that. But we really don't have any hard evidence, and we remember how that specification thing went, so we just kind of keep going and hope for the best. 8 months, 1 month till code freeze, and now it is painfully obvious to everyone that we are only about half done with coding. So the project manager has what in some circles is known as a come to Jesus meeting. And we come up with options for her to go tell the boss, this is not going to be pretty. We have 4 options, 4 ways to make up 4 months in 4 months. One way is to slip the schedule 4 months. That gets the VP thrown out of the CEO's office. The CEO says, go to 80-hour weeks and ship the bleeping thing. We could just ship it without testing it, but we know how that's going to turn out. Or we could cut 1/2 to 2/3 of the features. Why so many? Well, we're going to generate scrap. We're going to throw away specs for those features we're throwing away. Best case, we've been coding the features in order, so we don't have to throw away any code. But worst case, we've been coding them all in parallel, and we're 2/3 done with everything. And so what we typically do is a blend of it all. We slip 6 weeks, we crank in the overtime, we end up dropping about 5 of the 12 features, the team burns out, one of our programmers quits, and nobody's happy. All this because we were 30% aggressive with our schedule and we were running a waterfall. It gets worse. Features don't have equal value. In our system, we have 4 gotta have it, so the feed system's not viable, 4 value adders that are worth like double the others, and then 4 blue skies that are on there because they're politically popular. Total value possible 14. Now, if we were coding features in priority value order and we didn't have any scrap except in specification, we did the 8 best features, we got 12 points. If we were doing a mixture and we had to cut 5 features and we had a blue sky in there, we got 7 points. The worst case, we didn't even get the mandatories done and the project got canceled. Now you may say, well, this is a problem of estimation. 1/3, being off by 1/3, according to industry standards, is not at all bad. One mistake we made, we didn't have a contingency. The second problem we had is that we couldn't have that card conversation early because we didn't have the data. And finally, we generated a lot of scrap. Now, in contrast, there's the agile methods. These are based on an analysis various people did starting in the early 90s of what really worked. They have a lot in common with lean manufacturing. They were kind of codified in the early 2000s. And they're really made practical by the fact that computer cycles are now cheap. You can automate your build and test continuously. Now for an agile plan, we divide the whole feature set up into a backlog. And we pick off a month's worth. We break up our 12 months into 12 one-month cycles, and we only commit to the first cycle. And we kind of tentatively commit to the rest. and we adjust our plan based on what we actually get done. Every month, we take the stories we committed to or the features, we talk them through, a lot of verbal face-to-face, we write automated tests, and at the end of each 1 month, we ship production-grade code. And we keep track of how much we got done. Not how much the plan said we were going to get done, but how much we actually got done. So now, 4 months in, we've never hit our 12-point per month pace that we would need to do at all. But we've got hard evidence that we're really more like 9, and we're going to get 9 features done. But because we don't have anything to scrap, there's no specs to throw away, and we get to reprioritize, we get to pick which features we're going to do. So we reprioritize, we make sure that we get the gray ones, the mandatories, the high value ones, and even if we get the priorities wrong and have a blue sky feature in there and a green one on the floor, we get to reprioritize 7 more times. So we end up, when we're finally done, shipping 9 features rather than 8 that the waterfall did at the best case because there's no scrap. There's no intermediate work you throw away. A later prioritization dropped that blue sky and pulled in the high value, so we ended up completing 108 of our value points, 90% of the total value that we could have had had we got it all done, despite the estimation error. So the bottom line is that because you don't have any scrap, because you get rapid feedback that you're behind, and because you can continually reprioritize, Agile lets you manage for maximum possible value that's really achievable even within tight schedule constraints. Thanks.